And hello, hello, hello. As Lionel Richie would say, hello, hello. Today, 12/6/2023. This is recording 610. And yes, every day should be a good day. Every day should be. Every day is a good day. I'll tell you a little story here in a second. The revelation that I got that I wasn't even planning to get, but I got. But today's lesson is called, I am with you now. I am with you now. That right there should bring comfort, shouldn't it? That should bring confidence. That should be blessed assurance. That should be blessed. You name it. What do I have to think about if I am is with me now? Don't have to come 21 days journey like he did for Daniel. He don't have to fight for the body of Moses. Moses. Because they said the Lord took Moses and everybody's looking for fighting Satan or whatever over the body. I am with you now. Can you imagine life lived in I am with you now? Jesus was bold enough to look at the power that be called Pilate. And what did he say? I don't know who you think you are, but you could have no power except it be given you from the Father above. Meaning what? I am with you now. As he's talking to Pilate, look at what he's thinking. Look at what he's knowing. I am with you now. Until we get to that place, we're not going to be happy. Hopefully today, in fact, not hopefully, it was given to me to give to you, so it's been given to you to get to that place. On the day of the crucifixion of the Master, an invitation went out to each and every individual in existence, those presumed alive, and also those assumed to be dead. Got it? That invitation went out to every one of them. And what was the invitation? Come behind the veil that you might understand the reality of life. Remember the story where it says the veil was 24 inches thick? The veil that guarded the way to the Holy of Holies. And on the day that Jesus was crucified, it said the veil tore itself into from top to bottom. Meaning what? That the way to heaven, to the holy temple, worship of God, had been opened to the presence of the goodness, the allness of God, which is now being made secure to every person. Come, all ye that labor. Come. How badly do you want to go? See, that's the question. Come. Now, here's a little story I was going to tell you. Got up, I think it was yesterday morning. Yeah. Got up, and I have what is called a little Xbox video, player, whatnot. And I go in and I sit down and I'm going in to get something and it hits me. I need to figure out something on that right quick. So I'm going to turn it on, get my answer, and then leave back out. So I reach over and I grab the controller and hit the on button, and I see the Xbox light up. And I hear it going through its patterns. So I sit down in my chair and I reach over and I grab the remote to the TV. And I hit the TV and the screen comes up. And the screen comes up blank. And it says no signal. And it's blue. But I can still hear the Xbox going through its pattern. I said, that's interesting. That thing's doing, it's been years, okay? But today it's got my attention. This thing is doing what it's supposed to do, but I don't see nothing on the screen. So then I reach over because I have what is called a signal splitter, and I pick up the signal splitter and turn it on. When I turn it on, then what's happening on the Xbox comes on the screen. And I look up and I go, wow. God is always doing what God is always doing, but our screen is blank or showing us a whole bunch of ugly stuff because the signal, the right signal, is not coming to show us what God is doing. Did y'all get that? Now, put that in your life. God is always doing what God is always doing. But because we pick up the signal, and we might put it on PlayStation, or we might put it on Wii, or we might put it on whatever, Hulu, YouTube, guess what? We're not going to get what God has for us because we are determining how we're going to get it. God, this is what I want you to do. That's the problem with most people. Now, that revelation may not seem a lot to you, but to me it was awe-inspiring. God is always doing, doesn't need to me to come and ask him to let me see, help me see, because the moment I make the right signal or allow the signal in, what happens? My screen lights up to show me what is good for me. You see, when that veil rent itself in the temple, it opened the way to the Holy of Holies. And as the outer material veil has been removed, it is now apparent that the actual veil was and continues to be an illusion. Y'all ain't getting this, are you? Man is looking for something out here to happen so he can believe. So he can take the story of the veil tearing, opening the way to the Holy of Holies, and he thinks he's going to go in, and God is going to give him what he needs, when actuality, that thing is just showing you a picture that the actual veil is a veil that we're carrying as an illusion that God is not helping me. And we don't realize that when that material veil tore, the one within us tore, but we're still not going to get the signal. So we start setting up rules and regulations and all of these things to get pleasing to God, when he says, no, just go over to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. It says, Moses went to the mountain, and he received the illumination. And when he came off the mountain, he glowed like a light bulb. But instead of explaining to the people, okay, who are lower in consciousness, instead of explaining to him what he had gone through, he takes a veil and put it over his face to hide the glory that is the end of man. Ooh, I'm getting happy up here. What is the glory of the end of man? Well, 1 Corinthians 15. First Adam is of the earth. The second Adam is the Lord Jesus Christ from heaven. And God planned that from these twain he would make one new man, but each man in his rank, in his turn. Remember I said a while ago, how hungry are you? If you're happy to get what is called practical applications of God, that's what you're going to get. But you'll never know God. See, that's where I am. I want to know God. I don't care about the the matter, the practical thing. I don't care about that, because if I know God, those things will automatically dissolve the illusions that I've been holding. And back to 2 Corinthians 3, it says, and even today, when the Old Testament of Moses is read, the veil is still over the word, not recognizing that the freedom had been set aside in Christ. But when the heart turns to God, bing, see? When the heart turns to God, the veil is removed. Who removed it? Nobody. Why? Because it was never there. It was never there. We're walking around trying to figure out how to get close to God, when you're as close to God as you're ever going to get. I am with you always, right? I am with you when? Now. Of his own will did he decide to create us by the word. Being able to swear by nothing greater than himself, he swore by himself. So then what? He can never leave us. Whoa. Wait a minute. I thought it was me no. You know, that's like you being an artist or a sculptress, and the thing you make deciding it's just going to get up and walk. I'm going to get up and leave. How? How you going to leave me? How's that canvas going to get off the wall? How's that sculpture going to? No. God swore by himself that he would never leave us. Rev, how do you get to that? I'm glad you asked. You need a password. Okay? You need a password to get there. Because there's never been a restriction, and you're sitting there with your eyebrows going, if there's never been a restriction, then how do I get to that place? Password. When the heart submits to know, to love its creator. Y'all get that? When the heart decides to love the creator. Y'all ready for another story? All things were created by him, right? And there was nothing created. I'm getting ready to give you the password, but you're going to have to pick it out of this story. Well, I might just say it anyway afterward. But all things were created by the Creator, and there was not anything made that he did not make. And if anything appears to be that is negative to the perfection of God, then we know he did not create it. He didn't make it. So therefore, Jesus knew this. That was the password. So what then? Are y'all ready? You better hold on to your seats right now. Because if all things were made by the consciousness of God, then that means the chair you're sitting on right now is what? Consciousness of God, isn't it? The floor you're walking on is the consciousness of God. Oh, my goodness. The wallet in my pocket is the consciousness of God. The car I'm driving is the consciousness of God. The walls that hold my house up. The bed that I sleep in, the food that I eat, the rocks that I kick around in the yard. Are y'all feeling me? All of those things are what? Emanations of the consciousness. Whoa! Can you now see how Jesus walked on water? Interesting, isn't it? Can you now see how he walked through the wall and appeared to the disciples? Can you now see how he's on the shore and he hollers out over the waters and say, "Hey boys, y'all caught any fish?" And they look up and they talk to him like he's just some stranger. They don't recognize it. Why is that? But when he said throw your net on the right side, what did Peter do? John looks up and goes, hey, Pete, that's him. And Pete goes, yeah, and girds his clothes and jumps in the water. He's not thinking about fish now, is he? What's the password? The password is everything in existence, seen and unseen, is what? The consciousness of God. I am with you now. Now we can see Moses with the children of Israel at the Red Sea. What happens when Pharaoh's coming? A big old cloud, right? Before we get to the sea, a big old cloud comes and stands between Pharaoh and the children of Israel. What was that cloud? Come on. The consciousness of God. Come on now. And then a pillar of fire just comes out of nowhere. Oh, let's look at Elijah running from Jezebel, right? Running from Jezebel, and when he settles down, a raven comes and brings him food. A bird? What's that bird? The consciousness of God. What's the food? The consciousness of God. And the voice comes and says, Elijah, why are you here? He's not saying, why are you in this specific place? He's saying, what are you thinking, dude? Do you actually think Jezebel has, oh, you get it, don't you? You actually think Jezebel has the ability to come and do something to you, even though your heart, didn't I just show you what I did to the 450 prophets? And you're running? You see? And there was an earthquake, right? What else was there? Tornado or something, and heavy winds. What did it say about God? He wasn't in them. Are y'all feeling me? He wasn't in them. That's why you hear people telling miracles when they talk about how much they love the Lord, and the hurricane came and the tornado, and it went around, the fire went around their house. God didn't make them. He didn't make anything destructive. Oh, y'all feeling this, ain't you? He didn't make anything destructive to you. But what must I do? I must carry myself in an understanding that the Spirit of the Lord filleth all space. I am the Son of God. What is the Son of God? Emanation or you getting it, right? What am I? I am the replication, I am the visible image of the consciousness of God. What happens when I get it in myself that that's all that exists? Woo! What did Jesus say? I go to prepare a place. Now we know he's not going to prepare no houses like you've been taught. He ain't going to prepare no many mansions and he ain't doing that, is he? What is he doing? I go that you may practice the presence of God, not to get your bills paid, not to get health, but to know what? Nothing exists but the, help me out, y'all, consciousness of God. You say, well, why do I keep making y'all say that? Because as you say it, where are you hearing it? In your head, in your consciousness. You get it in there and get it in there and get it in there. At some point in time, it's going to speak back and it say, what is it going to say? I am with you now. The voice comes to Paul and says, hey, Paul, I'm getting ready to send you to Rome, for you must testify. And you're going to meet with hardship all along the way. And I read that scripture this morning. Paul said 3 times I was beaten, 40 stripes minus 1. 2 times I was stoned. I was let down out of a window. I had to run for my life here. I was shipwrecked. And what did the voice say to him? Don't be afraid. Why? Because I am with you now. You see, that's what you should be working. Instead of, why ain't this working? No, it's going to work depending on what? The degree of attention that you give to it. For centuries, the great I Am has opened its doorways for its creation to come and fellowship. Remember now, this was going on before Jesus. Go read your Old Testament. It says there was a rock that followed them in the Old Testament, and that rock was Christ. What is God saying? I ain't giving y'all up. I ain't giving y'all up to nothing. Every time you recognize me, when the children of Israel were coming up to drink water and all they could find was salty water, what did Moses do? Throw the brush in the water, and the water was drinkable. Come on, man. What happened there? That's right, the consciousness of God. I hope you're beginning to see that you're living in a world that needs to be seen through, which is the illusion. Now, as long as we can see the ugly that's out there to come at us, we're going to remain in the illusion. And we're going to pray to a God to remove the illusion. And how many of you right now know that that don't work? You pray all you want to. And then you say, yeah, but I pray. Okay, you're trying to tell me that 100% of your prayers get answered? I know better. Why? Because they didn't work for me, and they don't work for most of the people that I encounter in a day. So, well, let's just look at this. If you knew your child was going to be in trouble at some point during the day, would you make the effort to get there to make sure it didn't happen? Oh, my goodness. How come God ain't doing that for us? Does he know that the heart attack's coming? Does he know that the cancer is coming? High blood pressure? House foreclosure. Do you realize how many people are going to lose their houses in the next 10, 15 days? It happens every year. From November through January, companies, to meet their bottom line, what do? Lay folk off. Yeah, you got that job back there in August. You thought you had a job, didn't you? No, they had already foreseen they needed extra help. We don't need no extra help. We just need that password. And that password is to practice. I know this sounds crazy, but look at it. Did Jesus see anybody sick? Did Jesus see anybody crippled? Did Jesus see anybody paralyzed? Did Jesus see anybody dead? Did Jesus see anybody without food? Did Jesus see anybody without clothes? Why? Because he saw the consciousness of God as being the only power in existence. You mean? Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. You want to know God? You better get busy. Where do I start? As you're walking around and you look at the Christmas tree, what are you going to say? That's the consciousness of God. You see the TV? That's the consciousness of God. Why? Because God is the one mind, the only mind throughout the universe. You don't have a mind that's separate from God. That means then that there would be another power, right? And if there's another power, then that other power has the ability to do what? Fight. You ever tried fighting with God? You don't even think about it, do you? Because you know. But you'll fight with your brothers and sisters. What are you doing? You're denying the consciousness of God that is there to make the what? Crooked path straight. What's the crooked path? The password. That's it. To know the password. Not knowing that the outer laws and descriptions of worship were just to bring our attention to the same processes that would render outer laws incomplete and unnecessary, we suffer. Well, what did you just say? Go join the church and look how many rules, and I'm not saying don't go to church. I'm just go and see how many rules and regulations they put on you. And the bottom line is they will not tell you that none of that stuff is working for them. Did y'all ever stop to think about that? They'll come and put that backpack on you, and you'll hear them on Nephew Tommy with Deacon Conley. You'll hear them on spammed or whatever it is, tricked. You'll hear it. And they show you who they are. They show you who you are. It's like I heard a lady on Facebook, came on, they were saying something to her, and she looked up and she said, is this some kind of joke or somebody pranking me? So that's where I'm going to go. You see what I'm saying? Because I ain't going to be out here doing nothing stupid. Okay? So somebody comes to me and they want to tell me that they're going to come and take the grave marker off your mama's grave. And I said, okay, go ahead. Touched it, did this, see? My mama ain't in that grave. I don't care what you do. Because you know what? 100, 200 years from now, that graveyard probably won't even be there. You won't know anything about it. They'll go, shoot, man, we need to put some high-rise apartments in. It's some prime land. And they're going to come in and bulldoze all that. You won't know anything about it. Your loved ones ain't in that grave, y'all. Well, how do you know they're not in the grave? Didn't it say that Jesus went into the belly of Sheol and preached to all of the dead saints who were seen walking in the holy? Come on. At some point in time, we're going to have to let go of this world and realize what we think is happening ain't happening. Because the only thing that exists is the consciousness of God. And the consciousness of God is life, and it's ever alive. Come and dine, we are asked of the word. Come and dine. Buy without script or money, right? It's just to come and eat. You ever been invited to come somewhere to come and eat, and the first thing you said was, how much it gonna cost, right? No. What did he say? He says, come and eat, and come without money or script. The table has been set. Come, eat freely, dine until filled. No need to take a doggy bag, because you're always welcome. You get hungry a little bit later, go sit at the table. It's always set. The food don't spoil. But he uses things that we're used to get our attention. Filled. Be filled with the reality of life. The reality of life? Yeah. The one reality that governs all outer activities. What would life be if you got to that place? You know, sometimes I kind of shudder now to wonder, what would I preach if invited out? Because most people aren't ready. And you know what's so sad? They're not ready to hear that there is one power in the universe. They're not ready to hear that there's one presence throughout the universe. And they're not ready to hear that there's one knowledge, one intelligence. Not ready. And to hear and believe those three things, those three aspects, would set them what? Free. Set them free from total concern, but they want to hold on to this being real when Jesus came and showed us it's not real. He even told Pilate, man, if I want you to leave me alone, I can just call the angels. You come and wipe all this out. But because he didn't, Pilate said, man, you just passed up a good pass. Well, Pilate, he couldn't let him go because he would have made the Jews mad if he had let Jesus go. But he promised to give them what they wanted. And what did they want? A murderer. And Pilate could have taken Barabbas, could have taken him and killed him and said, now tell me what y'all want. But he didn't, did he? He put that murderer, that wanted killer, convicted killer, he put him back on the street. What do you think Barabbas did when he got back on the street? Start killing again, didn't he? The world doesn't want the truth. God is, and there is no other reality. Now you can tell yourself this over and over. No other power, no other law to observe but the law of life. How will I know? Your consciousness will speak to you. Why will your conscience speak to you? Because you with me now. Because your consciousness is the consciousness of God. By swearing, yeah, but it doesn't look like, he didn't ask you what it looked like, did it? He said, trust me. I will send you a comforter. What's the comforter? We automatically start seeing angels and what? No, the comforter is a confirmation that comes within your conscience. And what does it say? I am with you now. Rest. We being created by that law must come by the sense of recognition that there is but one reality, one law fulfilling all aspects of creation. This law is the consciousness of God expressing as all things seen and unseen. You just felt that. I could feel you felt that. That robe just dropped down on you. It dropped on you. You see, mankind can take people through what they call a celebration or observation or what do you call that thing, activity, and they call it ordination. And then they have you sign up with the state to make you legal, right? Let me tell you one thing. There's only one thing, there's only one law, there's only one God that can ordain anybody to go in his name. I don't care how many, I got the papers and whatnot. I got them. But I'm trying to tell you, if God does not come and confirm in your consciousness that I am with you now, this might get me in trouble. You're not really ordained. You're not really ordained. Because when he ordains, he sends. And when he sends with signs following, and those signs are the consciousness of God, confirming that I am with this one now. To recognize that all things are the divine consciousness expressing as, yes, to look at all things and understand that they are all aspects of God consciousness is answered prayer. The only prayer you ever need answered is that comforter coming in and speaking within your head. Remember I said earlier, the only place to live is in your head. Why do you think Jesus went in the temple? Get this now. Know ye not that ye are the what? The temple of God, right? Okay, on the outer plane, what did Jesus do? Did he not go into the material temple? And what did he do? He cast out the money changers and the lies and the cheats and whatnot, saying to us what? Go in your head, recognize the truth that God is the one. God is the one. Like a young lady told me, she said, God said for her to go back to the book of Genesis, and she said she was in the book of Genesis for days. Well, why do you think she couldn't get out? It wasn't that she didn't want to get out. It was that for every day he was showing her something, whether she recognized it or not. Because when he has completed that within her, guess what? He'll send her somewhere else. But the bottom line is, if he tells you to go somewhere, he didn't ask you to figure out where you're going, did he? And the thing about it is, when you get somewhere and you don't feel it, you know that's not the place. But when you get to that place, you know it is, because whatever is there begins to put the awareness of God's presence with you. The aspects of God, as we begin to understand them, they are not separate entities as they appear, but the actual consciousness. I'm trying to drill this idea at you that we shall wear a golden crown. That's right. What's that crown? It's not that big gold thing sitting in your head with diamonds and rubies and emeralds and all that. No. You know what it is not today. That crown that you're wearing is the consciousness of God. The consciousness. All you ever got to do is acknowledge it. And if you do something, you ever learn something, and every now and then you got to look back to see what the next step is, then after a while you get it, and you never have to look back? Yeah, that's what God is saying. Keep on. Keep that happy feeling. Keep on. You keep on doing it until one day it'll become second nature. I and my Father are one. That's what Jesus... Because you got to remember now, when he was 12, what did he say? I got to be about my Father's business. Now he's 33, what did he say? Dude, I've been with y'all so long, you don't know who I am? He expected them to know who he was. Look at the things he's doing. What manner? They sitting around asking questions. What manner of man is this? Dude, I'm the light. I'm the light of the world. Don't nobody get to God except they come through me. And we thought he was talking about a man. No, he's talking about the Christ Spirit. The Christ Spirit that confirms with us that all them little ugly demons we got running around in our head been cast out. And he whose right it is to sit on the throne has now been given the right to sit on the throne. Now we get a glimpse of how and why Jesus was truly enabled to do all those mighty things he did, because the only thing in existence is the perfection of his Father. Now, you might have to think a little bit on that one, because we're walking around here looking at people. They blind, crippled, and crazy. And Jesus, what did he say? I have given you the Spirit of the Lord. Now, you go and do greater works than you saw me do. Go into the world and do what? Heal the sick, raise the dead, open the eyes of the blind, loose that tongue that's muted. You see what I'm saying? How do we do it? We turn our hearts to God and acknowledge his presence with everything. It seems crazy at first. You do it long enough, though, After a while, you'll be walking through the house and say, Spirit of the Lord, going to the couch. Spirit of the Lord is sitting down at the table to eat. Spirit of the Lord is this fork I just picked up. Once you get the understanding that there is nothing but the Spirit of God in existence, what do you think that Spirit's going to do? Because God has commanded that Spirit provide everything you have, right? So now it's got to start giving you stuff even before you know you need it. You get me? I was telling a friend of mine earlier, 4 days ago, I was sitting trying to remember the name of this girl that we went to college with, and I have no idea why this girl came in my mind, because I have not seen her or heard of her since 1973. You see how long ago that was? I went to my wife and I asked her, you remember the little girl from Bluefield and she was good, she went with so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. She said, oh, yeah. The little pretty girl. I said, yeah. I said, do you remember what her name was? I said, her first name was, and I called her first name. And she said, yeah, I remember, but I don't remember what her last name was. 4 days ago. Now, in the successive 3 days that have come along now, I'm remembering all these people that I ain't got no idea why, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so. I wake up this morning, and just as I get ready to go into my morning meditation, a voice in my head calls the girl's first and last name. And I went, yeah, that was her name. I got up, went out to my wife, and I said, her name was blah, 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 blah. She said, yeah, that's who it was. I said, ain't that something? To pull something out of the archives from 40 years ago? But where was it? Hello. You with me, man? It's in the consciousness of God. And I don't need, everything's there. Everything's there. All you got to do is believe on him who God has sent. Let me close out of here. I'm at 42 minutes. This is, We also see why Jesus was able to do the things that he did. Walk through walls, express food, drink where there seemed to be lack, to raise his body from a lifeless position. No, God raised him up. No, remember what he said. Remember what he said now. He didn't say God was going to raise me up, did he? He said, you tear down this temple, and in 3 days, What is he telling us? God is life. This world that we're living is giving us all kinds of illusory delusions, and we're believing them, and then we're going to God and saying, change them, and God is going, no, turn your heart to me and watch the illusion fade. Look in the mirror. Look in the perfect law of liberty, because where that liberty is, I am. And if you look in that liberty, you are changing to the very glory that I am. I dare, don't go out here and start telling you people this stuff. But experience it on your own. Guess what? If you experience it on your own, they're going to come. They may not even know why they're coming to you, but they're going to come to you. Like my mentor said, he went out to California. He and his family, he's out there living, and one day he gets a knock at the door, and there's a family of 4 standing there saying, we've come from Ohio. Y'all know how far Ohio is to California? We have come that many miles to receive teaching from you, unannounced. He says, I looked at them and said, I'm not a teacher. I'm just like, no, we were told to come. We know you have something and we want it. He put them up in his house for 4 weeks. He said when they left, he started getting calls from all over the country. And that's what put him on that worldwide, not countrywide, worldwide teaching experience. What was that? Consciousness of God. He had turned his heart over, and the Father, knowing who had need of whatever, was now sending them not to him, but to the consciousness of God that they are now turning their hearts over to. Yeah, look, y'all. Now look again, my friend. Look deeply into the true reality until you are fully persuaded. For all that exists is that which has been from the beginning and shall ever be. Eat freely, and as often, for I have given and placed all that I am under the dominion of that which I love. I have withheld nothing from your gaze and commanded all that I have to be with you. Why? That where I am, you may be also, that you may know that I am with you now. God bless. Let's have a meditation. In him is life. There is no darkness. As I look to the word, I realize I am looking in a glorious liberty. And that which I allow into my consciousness is that which is going to express itself outwardly. It is I now that must recognize that I must allow the right and correct signal to be sent out. For even though God is being all that God is, if I do not allow the correct signal, which is my heart, turning to him and making that connection, I will always have a blank screen to which I will manipulate and try to make friendly, try to make comfortable. But I know that I only need to look at him who is free. Look at him who is loving. Look at him who has promised. Look at him who will not go back on his promise. Look at him and be satisfied. For where the Spirit of the Lord is, I am. And I will acknowledge all things as being of his Spirit. And should something come that is acting out of accord to the goodness and perfection of God, I will know immediately that it is not my Father, and the Father, the truth, will destroy that illusion or relieve me from the threat of it. For as I look at an illusion, I realize an illusion is not real. So therefore, there's no way for me to rid myself of an illusion. For how can you rid yourself of something that isn't? Oh, I am so glad that I and no one on this planet have sinned, that the things of this world have come upon us, but we were created that the works of God should be made manifest. I am so thankful, because the I that I am, is with me now. Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening.